When you think of the great trumpeters throughout history, who comes to mind? Louis Armstrong, Dizzy Gillespie, Wynton Marsalis, Miles Davis, Clark Terry, Herb Alpert. Actually, if you go online and Google top 50 trumpeters of all time, you will find that 48 of them are men. Women and the trumpet, it seems, just hasn't been a thing. And that's just one of the reasons we wanted to have Lina Allemano join us tonight. She's originally from Edmonton, but has spent more than 2 decades based in Toronto and has traveled all over the world playing the trumpet. And Lina Allemano joins us now. It's great to see you again.
Nice to see you too, Steve.
Let's just tell a bit of your story before we get into some of the more political angles around what you do. Do you recall when your interest in music began at the very beginning?
Yes, I started playing piano when I was 4.
Do you know why?
I think my parents thought it was a good idea. I mean, I don't really remember when I was 4 exactly.
Okay.
But I remember enjoying having the lessons, and I still have very fond memories of the first lessons I had.
How did you move from piano to trumpet?
Well, so when I was 10, my parents wanted me to play an instrument. But by the time I was 10, I wasn't sure about. I had a new teacher, piano teacher, and it wasn't really grabbing me, and I didn't want to continue, and I was complaining a lot. I didn't want to practice, and so my dad said, okay, you can quit the piano, but you have to pick something else, and you have to practice, on something. So pick whatever you want. And I have an older brother, and he was playing trumpet already, and I thought, well, I like my brother. He's pretty cool, and I want to be just like him. So I just picked up a trumpet, and that was it.
Did anybody say to you around that time, girls don't play the trumpet?
No, nobody ever said that to me. Yeah, so it never occurred to me that it was unusual.
It seems to have occurred to the rest of the musical world, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess so. I mean, when I was growing up, I was pretty, what's the word? I was in a nice, comfortable bubble, my family and friends, and Edmonton is a fairly small city, and nobody pointed out my gender ever. It was just, here's a great trumpet player or whatever, up-and-coming trumpet player. Nobody made a point of my gender. I think until I came to Toronto, and then people started to point it out, when I was 20, and I thought, I don't understand. I'm a trumpet player. What's it got to do with my gender? I don't.
What kind of comments would you hear in Toronto?
Oh, just like, oh, I've never seen a woman playing the trumpet, or I didn't know women could play the trumpet, or you're so small and cute. How do you play the trumpet like that? And I don't know. I just do it. I mean,
there's no apparent physiological reason why women ought not to play the trumpet.
That's right.
And yet, I mentioned the top 50 of all time, and then I think if you look around it, I mean, at symphony orchestras and in jazz clubs and whatever, you'd have to acknowledge you're less than 50%. You're less than 10%.
True. That's true. But there is some good news. There's more and more young women playing the trumpet. That's clear to me. But I think the bad news is that there's really not too many gigs anymore for anybody, for any trumpet players.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's going to really change that much, just because there's more young women playing the trumpet now, but there's less places to play, so.
At what point in your life did you make the decision that, you know what, I'm really loving this. This is how I want to make my living?
I mean, it's crazy just to admit this, but really pretty much right away when I was, I started when I was 10 playing trumpet, and I had, my teacher was in the Edmonton Symphony, and he got me involved in this competition. So when I was 12, I won a concerto competition. So I'd only been playing for 2 years, and it was open to ages, I can't remember, it was open to like up to 17 or 19 years old or something. Somehow I won this competition, I don't know how. But the prize was to play with the Edmonton Symphony. So I got up and I played solo trumpet as a little 12-year-old kid.
Unbelievable.
And I think after that I just thought, well, this seems fun. I like this, so I'll just do it.
But you did not, I mean, at some point you made a decision not to go sort of classic symphony orchestra, not to go even classic jazz. You do, I mean, I don't really know how to describe it other than it's sort of improvisational, experimental, avant-garde, freestyle, that kind of thing. How did you get from where you started to that?
It was definitely a process that just sort of evolved slowly. I kind of went through, many different phases. And I think what's really been quite a rich experience for me is that I've had all these different experiences, and I can still do all these things. I can still play classical trumpet. I'm going to be playing with a, in a church with a pipe organ for Christmas to play some, trumpet things. And on the other hand, I also do this very experimental extended technique on the trumpet. And I also play straight ahead jazz. I can play all these different things. So I'm pretty lucky. I think I'm quite lucky. I've had the opportunity to grow and to develop. It's pretty fantastic.
I don't want to put words in your... no, I can see that it's fun, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you take the position that, playing the same old standards, the same old ways is a little too dull, and that's what's taken you off into the more avant-garde?
I guess you could say that, but I don't know if I'd go that far because I still really like to play standards. But yes, I don't think I was content. I've never been content to just stay in one place. So I kind of I liked something for a while, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm really interested in. I want to try something new. I want to develop. I want to push myself. I want to challenge. And so it's not that I leave things behind completely because I still love all these kinds of music. Who's
your favorite trumpeter of all time?
Oh, that one's hard to answer.
I could imagine.
Somebody asked me that the other day, and I joked and I said, me.
Well, good for you.
Obviously I'm just being silly, but I have so many favorites. It's hard to
take one. I get the same thing when people say, "What's your favorite Sinatra song?" I say, "Oh my gosh, how do you start?" But let's say from 50 years ago.
Right.
So let's narrow it down for you. Favorite trumpeter from 50 years ago.
Yeah. Miles Davis was always a big thing for me.
Can't go
also
wrong.
Because he did also evolve, and he was always looking for new things, new bands, new ways of playing music. So I always found that really inspiring, and just that his sound is so unique, and it's just, he's just incredible.
You put it on, you know it's him.
Yeah,
you really
exactly.
do. This is not your first time here. Do you know that?
Yeah,
you do know you've been here before.
I do have a vague memory of this, yes. And I played on your show. Mm-hmm.
You want to see what you looked like 22 years ago?
I don't know. Not really.
Yeah, I think you might. I think it might be fun.
I think I had the same hair, maybe. I don't know.
Let's find out, shall we?
In between, I had some other hair, but...
Here's Lina Allemano on a previous program we did here called Studio 2, 22 years ago. Wow. Roll it. Okay, you are way better in that clip than my math is, because you were actually here twice. You were here 22 years ago, but that one's only from 2004.
Right, okay.
But having said that, let's do the review. How is that trumpet player different from the trumpet player sitting in the studio today?
Well, that was really interesting to see, because that was one of my first bands. So that band's not around anymore.
Was that the Lina? That was not the four, was it?
It was Lina
Allemano
Allemano 4, but then it changed personnel shortly after that, and so it's a bit of a different band now. So what's different? Well, I guess, yeah, my compositional style has evolved a lot from that period, and I'm not really playing things that you can tap your foot to anymore. It's more abstract what I'm doing now.
Are you better today than you were 12 years ago?
Better? Well, I hope so.
And how would you judge that?
Sorry?
How would you judge whether you're better? By what criteria are you better?
Well, I guess what does better mean? I'm a better trumpet player in some ways. I think add on those many more years of experience, and I've had more lessons with master teachers all over the world, and
I did want to pick up on that. Can I pick up on that?
Sure. Yeah, good, because I didn't want to talk about the better thing.
Well, it's funny. I noticed that you've just taken some lessons in Berlin,
right?
And you've taken some lessons with another master in New York. Mm-hmm. And of course, I don't know that much about this stuff, so I would assume that you know everything you already need to know to be a great professional trumpet player. And the notion that you, at this stage of your life, are taking lessons, I found odd and interesting. So why do you?
Well, I think just because I'm like I said before, I'm really, I'm never really satisfied to just go like, okay, I've got what I need. I can do these gigs, and I'm done. I'm always looking to improve, and I'm excited by adventure, I guess, musical adventures and other kinds of adventures. So the guy I was just studying with in Berlin, he's doing all extended techniques, and he's playing the trumpet in a way you wouldn't necessarily recognize as being a trumpet. And to me, I just thought it was fascinating. And I'd never thought of this. I'd never thought of making these kinds of sounds on the trumpet. And it's very expressive, and it just sort of opened up a whole other area of expression, I guess, on the instrument.
Do most professional players that you know still take lessons this far into their careers?
I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah. Which is why I thought it was neat that you
Right.
did.
I mean, the other thing is it does become like, with this guy, he's 10 years older than me, so he's got 10 more years of experience. But I have to admit that the lessons did sort of evolve into more of a collaborative kind of thing, which was also great. After I was done picking his brain for many hours, whatever, lesson after lesson, then he's sort of like, well, why don't we just play? And then we'll talk about, and so then we started to just record together. So now we're just recording improvisations, and then we analyze it and we talk about it after. But it feels more of like a collaboration than lessons per se. But I'm definitely learning a lot.
If they're lessons, do you have to pay him for the lessons?
Well, yeah, that's part of the deal.
It is, eh?
Yeah, sure.
Even when you're sort of collaborating?
Yeah, I mean, I feel better about that. There's some people I'm collaborating with where it's more of a professional kind of situation. We're doing gigs together and things like that. So if we ever get to the point, with my trumpet teacher, if we get to the point where we're just doing gigs together and making a record or something, I guess, I won't pay him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Again, well, this is just different, which is why I've raised it.
Right.
You've just finished a tour. Where have you been? You've been to Germany, you've been to Switzerland, you've been to Denmark, you went to Austria.
Right.
What do you like about touring?
Oh, what's there not to like? I mean, it's exhausting, but other than that...
That's it. I mean, it's
Right.
exhausting. You're away from home. You're living out of a suitcase for a long
Yeah.
time.
Well, that part's not new for me. I've been living out of a suitcase for a long time. I've just spent 7 months living out of a suitcase.
How come?
Well, I was in Berlin for quite a while, and then touring, and so you just really never get a chance to unpack, really.
And you don't mind that?
Well, I just got home a few days ago from this, and I'm very relieved, I have to admit. So it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but it was like, oh, wow, it's nice to just, okay, I'll unpack. Wow, that's a new idea, novel idea.
What's that like to sleep in your own bed for the first time in 7 months?
Yeah, well, it's a little confusing. Actually, I'm still getting the hang of it. Like, I wake up in the morning and I don't know where I am. Every morning it's like, this seems familiar, but where am I?
Are you on Eastern Time yet?
Working on it.
Getting there.
Yeah, getting
Not quite there. Lina, this will be a really inappropriate personal question, which is, of course, why I want to ask it. But
Fantastic.
how much of a living can you make doing what you do?
Yeah, that's always that's a hard one to answer. Well, it's not hard to answer, but how much of a living? A very meager living. Yeah, it's difficult.
You want to say a number, or you don't?
No, I
You'd
don't.
rather
wanna say
not?
a number. I'd rather not. I mean, I think people like me, or I don't know, like me. I'll just tell you my story.
Sure.
I made some choices, and I chose to be an artist. I chose to not make money a priority at all. I don't have a family. I have no kids. I can't possibly own a house. I can't own a car. I can't own I don't own anything. But it wasn't part of my plan. So it's not like I said, oh, I'm giving up all these things so that I can do my work. I just want to do my work, and so it doesn't feel like
Sacrifice.
yeah, right. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but I guess it is in a way.
Well, it's a
But
sacrifice of some things, but the
Yeah.
compensation for it is that you're one of the very best at what you
Well,
do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely enjoying it. I hope I'm good at it, but yeah, of course it's a choice, and it's also a luxury. Like, a lot of people don't have this luxury to live in this way.
To live in a bohemian way on very little money.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's not glamorous. I think that's the thing. People sometimes they don't realize that it's actually it's a struggle, of course. I mean, and especially now, I think we're in this really difficult period where it's almost impossible to make money playing music. You can't sell records anymore. You can't, there's no way to.
You got to do shows.
You got to do shows,
Gotta
and
get out
even
there.
then, it's difficult. People a lot of people don't go out to see live music anymore because they can just sit at home in their comfortable place, and they've got a nice screen and there's
Sound systems are
YouTube and there's
incredible.
I mean, who needs to see real people doing real things?
And well, we do. I mean, the short answer is, of course, we do.
I hope so, but.
But do you think about a future where sort of walking home to your hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning in, Berlin or Copenhagen is going to have kind of less appeal for you?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I've noticed already it's becoming physically more challenging to do this kind of thing, not sleeping as well as you want and not getting to eat the way you want to. You can't exercise as much when you're on the road. But I think the thing is for us to do our work, which is playing music and this particular kind of music, we have to travel. Because if I just stay in Toronto, I can't perform. There's a very small audience and it's the same few people. So I have to. I don't think there's much of a choice.
Lina, it's really good of you to come into TVO again for your third time.
Wow.
And maybe next time we do it, you bring the trumpet and you can fancy us with a little something.
No problem.
That was great. Lovely to see you again.
Thanks so much.
Lina Allemano, trumpeter extraordinaire.
Aw.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit TVO.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.